Hello, Profoundish fans. I'm Weston, and I'll be joined by Alex as we partake in an episode of Tennis Shoe Cupboard, where we're talking about shoes. OMG shoes. We're talking shoes, and then we'll be playing a game where Alex builds his perfect shoe for $1 million. And by perfect, I mean terrible. You're listening to Tennis Shoe Cupboard.
Well, see, now that sounds like a challenge. Like, I would love to do, like, a very aggressive metal song, but it's, like, very ukulele heavy.
Some kind of deathcore ukulele.
Yeah. Death ook.
Death ook. I don't know what
I guess
that would... The ukulele
proper way to
sound.
say it is ukulele.
Ukulele. The ukulele, like, sound isn't conducive of anger. It's, like, twangy and, like, bright and springy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what all the words, but...
I think a lot of it has to do with the magic behind the production. I feel like if you can also change the strings and kind of darken them up, but like if you just produce like a good solid just traditional metal track with some drums and stuff, but like you make the ukulele the spotlight, I feel like you can make it work. You got my music brains going.
Electric ukulele has got to be a thing, right? You could do a lot with it if it's electric.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you can, even if they don't make them electric fully, like with pickups, you can install, like I installed a pickup on my ukulele, so it can be electric if I'd like. And then with that, there's even more opportunities. You can plug it into an amplifier, or you can use an amp modulator, and you can distort it, do all kinds of fun things with it.
Alex Duquette ukulele album when?
2025. Be ready.
That's
just, hey, I was just going to say, anybody can make a career out of a weird instrument. I mean, Weird Al, it was all about, not many people are famous for the accordion, but he is.
He owned that. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I know how to play accordion. I'm gonna make use of that skill. I'm gonna make use of that talent somehow.
It. It's crazy. I wanted to watch that movie, by the way, the Daniel Radcliffe movie.
Oh, I forgot that they were doing a Weird Al movie. Is it out? Is that a thing?
It is out, and I've heard that one is good. But
I've forgotten about it. I would hope it would be good, because you see a lot of movies with like that are like, what are they called, biopics or whatever, that are biopics, based off of a celebrity or some famous person or whatever, and a lot of them like take a more serious route and aren't usually very good. Maybe artsy, but it's not a good movie. But like someone like Weird Al, like he's kind of a goofy guy. I feel like you could make that a pretty fun movie.
I haven't seen it. I want to see it. But I have heard the credits song, the song that plays at the credits, and it's a new Weird Al song, and he's singing about the credits. And then like there's like 4 fake endings. He's like da 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 da. The song's not over yet. Da 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 da. And he goes back in to play it again or whatever. I'm not getting the music right, but like that was the point of the song, is that you keep thinking it's going to end, and it keeps coming back. Not quite yet. Da 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 da. It was very funny, very Weird Al.
That's very funny for it being a credits song anyway, because I'm sure we've all been there watching the credits to a movie for whatever reason, and like you're trying to guess like when the credits are about to wrap up, like when the text gets a certain size, or you get to we're at special effects, we must be wrapping or whatever.
Right.
It's like, oh, we're almost there, and then nope, it just keeps rolling. It just keeps rolling. It's like, I want to see the scene at the end of the credits. How long are these credits?
I would love to take it a step further and be like, have a visual like accompaniment to be like, all right, now we're going backwards, and the credits start just going back up or back down. I mean,
do it again. He's just Weird Al starts playing the song in reverse as the credits reverse, but then it's like super satanic in reverse.
Oh, I like that.
Like all the hidden messages that you didn't catch the first time.
That was a thing for a while. I know everybody was trying to like play like Led Zeppelin records backwards, and like they said that one of their biggest songs, Stairway to Heaven, had like satanic stuff in it. You know, the irony. Stairway to Heaven's all about satanic stuff.
When you play it forward, it goes to heaven. When you play it backwards, it goes to hell.
Right. I think, you know what's funny? I wonder if that's going to come back, or if that novelty's kind of gone, because artists are putting stuff out on vinyl again like crazy, like new artists. But I don't know if anyone really cares anymore. Or maybe it's really more, you know what, you can put it in your computer and you can just reverse on like Adobe or Audacity or whatever.
I could see, especially with music being produced digitally, like it wouldn't be as difficult as it would have been in the past to try to hide actual messages and stuff in a reverse thing. Like you could probably splice it together. I think the craze for that though is gone. So you'd have to be like on the cutting edge of wanting to bring that back to make it happen. Because otherwise, no one's doing it. No one's trying to play their music backwards.
And a part of it too, though, is also I think the novelty, or not the novelty, sorry, like the tangibility and the physicality of it. Of like, we're taking this record. Let's, I think there's something about that too. Like you feel like you're uncovering a mystery because you're physically moving the needle. You're doing this and that. I bet you at the time, that's definitely part of it too. It's like you don't need to do that now.
It's like a musical Ouija board. You want to hold the little triangle thing. It's called something. Plank, a pillet. The little triangle part of a Ouija board has a name.
Oh, I don't know.
Hang on, I kind of want to know this. Hang on.
I'm gonna call it the try. Move the try around.
Ouija.
That's what I'm guessing.
Well, I don't think it's spelled Ouija right. I did not. A planchette.
What a strange name, a planchette.
I was playing a point-and-click adventure game that included a Ouija board, and something, I don't remember what it was, there was like an instruction about something, the planchette, and I'm like, I don't know what that is, so I don't know what to do. And a planchette is the little triangle bit, it's a planchette from the French word for little plank. It's a small, usually heart-shaped, flat piece of wood. So, yeah. Now you know.
I totally learned something.
I've learned the most goofy words that like you just wouldn't encounter in everyday life from playing video games. So, dunk on that, video games haters.
That's right.
The other one that I think of is when I played the Seventh Guest, which is this
I remember that
point and click like almost like live action video game from the 90s. I didn't know what a satyr was. That was the first time I encountered the word satyr. I'm like, what the frick is a satyr?
What is a satyr?
It's like a mythical being that's like horny all the time. It's like in Greek mythology, a satyr, also known as a Silenus or Silenos or whatever, is a male nature spirit with ears and a tail resembling those of a horse. Anyway, they have a whole mythology behind them, and they're like known for being the little guy in Hercules, the animated movie.
Yeah,
the like mentor. He's a satyr.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
That's why he's kind of raunchy and kind of trying to hit on the women all the time. Is because they're known for being kind of like horny.
Interesting. Huh.
And I'm like, that's a satyr. I didn't know because like I mentioned Hercules. I'd seen Hercules, but I didn't know what he was.
Right. Well, Weston, call me a satyr.
Are you a horny little half goat man?
Horny little half goat man. Now that's a song. I went down to see the little horny half goat man. Let me tell you all a story about the little horny half goat man.
That reminds me. Do you remember the band trip I think it was the band trip to Florida, where we rode on charter buses and we were traveling to like to Disney or whatever. Do you remember one of our peers? He was in the class below us, I think. We were in a public bathroom, taking a rest break or whatever. And the bathroom had like, you could buy like condoms and stuff or whatever. It had one of those in it. And one of the sections you could put a quarter in and get was like horny goat weed. So he like put some money in and bought this like horny goat weed. I don't know what it was supposed to be. If it was supposed to be like an aphrodisiac or what, but he got it and ate it. I don't know what it did.
I don't recall this at all, but that is hilarious to me.
And it was like, yeah, it was a thing. I don't remember. I think it was on that trip. It was on a trip and charter bus.
Not to put that on a somber note, but I actually was kind of bummed out on that bus ride because, not to get into details, you remember this because you were there and my friend at the time, but I was going through a bad situation with a girlfriend at the time, and teachers were involved at this point. And so what they did was they separated us on the buses, but she was older than me, so she got... Because we were sophomores when we went, and I wanted to be with you guys on the bus.
Yeah, because we had to take two buses.
Right, so there was a bus with freshmen and sophomores for the most part, then there's one with juniors and seniors for the most part. And I wanted to be on the sophomore bus with my friends, And instead, I was put on the senior bus because she wanted to be on the freshman sophomore bus. But I know to this day that's a big reason why she did it was because she knew that I wanted to be on the bus instead. So I had a great trip. But when I think about the bus rides, I hate to go to that somber note, but I always go back to that. Like I'm still a little salty about that. No anger at anybody, but like I wish I could have been with my bros on the bus.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I'd forgotten about that a little. I mean, I remember it now, but I'd forgotten it. I'm like, oh yeah, you probably didn't know about the horny goatweed adventures. You were having your own drama.
Yeah, I was having my own, exactly. I had other crap going on, but the trip itself was fun. I mean, we had fun again because we went back about, 7-8 years later.
Yeah, just as a guys trip and hung out.
Which was super fun.
Because we orchestrated that ourselves as opposed to it being a school function. So that was just fun to like orchestrate like a vacation of some kind ourselves and go do.
And at that point we were old enough to drink, and like so if we wanted to get a drink or two, we could do that, and we felt like we were kind of in control of our lives. It was really fun. We're due for another trip. I'm pushing for a Vegas trip. I got to get on you guys for that.
You're pushing for Vegas, where we're
I got to get on you guys though.
We're all going to become either very rich or very broke, and we're stripping for money.
Exactly.
Or both. Those are the two options. What do you mean both? No, if I get very rich, I'm not stripping. If I win, I don't need a strip.
Whatever you say. Well, I got to get on. Here's the thing. Here's what I know about our friend group is that we can be actionable. We can do things, but we got to be pushed a lot. And I'm included in this too. But if somebody pushes enough, the only reason why I went to Disney was because our friend Justin, shout out to Justin, he's a big fan of the show. Thanks for listening, pal.
He's the real mastermind behind a lot of the things. So
yeah, he was a huge pusher for that, and I'm glad he was. But so I need to take the mantle and push for Vegas, and I'm going to do that. Mark my words. But I did that with you, Weston, when you came down to Memphis. I was like, not that you wouldn't do it. I knew you wanted to go. But it's like, well, I got life, I got work, I got, whatever, taking the time off. And I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. The next thing I know, Weston's like, hey, I can come down this week. All right, come on down.
It was helpful, too, that I was in a position at work where I was kind of more in charge of my schedule. So I was like, I can actually make this happen now, as opposed to the, like, oh, I don't know. So that worked out very well, so.
That's true, too, when you're in your early 20s especially, or even younger, and you're not a little more in charge of your own kind of day-to-day life, with work or whatever, you're kind of locked into these schedules. It can be tough, especially in those kind of entry-level jobs where you don't get a lot of PTO and you can't maybe really afford to take just a week off without pay or whatever. And,
not only a week off without pay, but then all the week's expenses of the travel itself, like gas.
Right.
Paying for just gas alone to get there and back. And then, I mean, if you fly, it's, just as expensive or whatever. So it's like, all that, and then eating and activities and all the rest of it. Like it adds up. And if you're a young 20, like a young lad, 20s, if you're a young lad, you don't have the income saved up. So, Alex.
You used to be so good at transitioning, Weston. What happened to you?
I'm here. I'm like, we're talking about, I could have done better. We're talking about vacations and stuff. I've been like, when you're on vacation, often you don't want to drive everywhere. You want to walk through the city and the town. And what better way to walk than with a pair of good shoes? And that's what we're here to talk about today on the Tennis Shoe Cupboards podcast. Tennis Shoe Cupboard podcast. That is a mouthful.
Tennis Shoe Cupboard
podcast. That's right.
Okay.
We are, ladies and gentlemen, continuing our adventure through the alternate podcasts, as I have been for some. We're winding down. There's just a few of these left. There's just a few.
Wow.
I think
been doing
3
it for a couple months now. It's been going on for a while.
We did a lot of these. And I'm committed. We're doing them.
You are.
And this was yours. I forget what your words were. It was tennis shoe cupboard and something else. And you invented the Tennis Shoe Cupboard podcast, a podcast about shoes, shoe wear, and collect shoe collections, shoe enthusiasts, shoes. We're talking shoes today, Alex.
Well, we should start with the infamous shoes. Let's go get some shoes.
Oh my God, shoes. Let's go get some shoes.
talk about like early YouTube energy and vibes. Like that was, what an era that was.
I don't even remember what the purpose of that video was. Like, was that, who made that?
They made one other video, I think, that got, they also did the Muffins video. Remember Muffins?
When he was like, about muffins. I forgot
cigarette muffin, newspaper muffin, you know, and he would like, and then at the end they're like, I don't want muffins anymore, or whatever. It just, you'll eat a muffin and you'll eat it and like it. I remember thinking those videos were so funny at the time, but it was such a different kind of humor.
I'm seeing it by a channel called Liam Kyle Sullivan. That's just a guy's, that's just someone's name. That's just his name.
Yeah. and I think his whole thing was kind of like, he I guess he usually played female characters. He kind of dressed up like a woman, and he did the shoes one. And then if for anyone who's younger may not know, because it's been long enough to where people may not know what these videos are anymore. That was a video where it was just a comedy music video, just singing about shoes. It was kind of a jab at the time, at least, at kind of women loving shoes. It was kind of a joke about that. Let's get some shoes. So it didn't matter how much they cost or whatever. And then there's another one where it was called Muffins, and he was the same guy, and it was like him and like his son or something. I don't know. But he was playing a mom, and he's like, I made these muffins. Do you want some? And then something like that, right? And he's like offering the different kinds of muffins, and each muffin just had a different joke to it.
I don't even remember. That was lost to my... I don't even remember anything about that video. So I take your word for it. It was that. Everything Alex said, that was it.
I feel like shoes, though, if we're going to talk about shoes, we have to start with where shoes started, which was that video back in 2006.
If you go to his YouTube channel, his banner
or whatever year
picture is him and his name, Liam Kyle Sullivan. But he's got like a little quote underneath his name, and that just says, "Keeping 2006 warm for you since 2006."
I like that.
I'm like, okay, because that was when he released Shoes, was in 2006.
Well, at least I guess he's not completely just uncomfortable with this kind of living in a past era of himself, because some people would be like, that was 15 years ago, watch what I do now. Does he have anything new or newer?
He's got something from 5 months ago, which was just Kelly and Mother. I think Kelly's his character. Kelly and Mother Grandma promote Aortic Disease Awareness Month. So he just did like an awareness type thing.
Okay.
A year ago, he did something called Breakfast Loaves that looks like he's holding up a bread loaf with a dead fish on it.
I wonder if that's trying to be some weird sequel to...
Yeah, like muffins, but like breakfast loaves. So yeah, he's got a few things he's done over the years, but not regularly. Very sporadic, very random, and only a few things before you start getting to like 10 years and stuff.
It's lightning in a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle.
So
now, that's enough about Liam. Let's talk about actual shoes. Let's talk about what's in your closet. How many pairs of shoes do you own right now?
Let me be real honest. So first of all, I will say that, well, I don't want to say that because I don't know if it's true. So let me find out. Okay, I have two main pairs of shoes, which used to be pretty uncommon for me, but I've learned if I get two pairs of pretty good shoes and I spread them out, it kind of lasts longer, which I like. So I got two pairs of main shoes. I got a pair of dress shoes. Actually, I got two pairs of dress shoes now. Ooh. And then I only wear for special occasions. Then I have a pair of casual / a little fancier shoes that I only wear sometimes, like these kind of leather shoes with like laces on them. And what's that, 5 or 6? And then I have like a pair of like snow boots and stuff, but like I don't know if you're gonna count that. But like I've got like maybe 7. I think like maybe 7 or 8 pair, which if you were to ask me and I wouldn't think about it, I would have thought my number would be less.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. You've got quite a few. Having more than one pair of dress shoe definitely gives you an advantage, because then you can match that with different outfits. I have one dress shoe and it's black, so if I'm wearing brown, I got black shoes. That's
what I picture. You have one shoe, just one dress shoe?
One dress shoe, and it's a left one.
Gotta make it work.
The right one gets the slipper. Actually, that's a good one. Do you own a pair of slippers?
Well, first of all, when I thought of slippers, I thought of like more like kind of stereotypically female slippers, so I had to reassess I had to reprocess that.
What's a stereotypical female slipper?
I mean, like, Dorothy's shoes were slippers. Those were called slippers. There's no place like home. They called those slippers.
Oh, because they're like slip-ons, shoes. Maybe? I would have called them slip-ons, I guess.
They call them slippers, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's why I got confused.
I feel ya.
So, but yeah, I do own a pair of slippers, so I guess that maybe is like 8 or 9. It's one of those like indoor-outdoor slippers. So like it's got like that hard, kind of the rough bottom to them, so you can kind of walk outside and get the mail or whatever, you know.
Because I have a pair of slippers. You can wear them outside, but I only wear them inside. I think, are they over? Yep, they're over here right next to my power outlet waiting to start a fire.
Perfect.
Right where I want them to be. I own, besides the slippers, because I own slippers. I don't know if we want to count slippers as shoes, but I own 1 pair of dress shoes, and I own 3 other pairs of shoes. One's my running shoes, one's my work shoes, and one's my everyday shoes. But my work shoes are like mesh. So when it got to be winter, I turned my everyday shoes into my work shoes because they're just like regular canvas or whatever it is. So they're not mesh. So they were warmer. So that's it. I have those 3 in a dress shoe, and my work shoes are pretty beat up and need to be replaced, and my everyday shoe needs to be replaced. So those need to go. My everyday shoe, I'm wearing out the bottom. Like the bottom's coming like apart from the rest of the shoe. So they need to go. They need to go now, unfortunately. My running shoe has held up, believe it or not, but that's also because I run a lot less than I used to. But that those might become my new work shoes now that we're getting into spring and it's getting warmer. Those might become my work shoes, and I need to go just get new running shoes.
Man, you got me thinking. I actually have more shoes than what I told you. You sparked my brain here. So I actually also have work shoes, like not for like hard work, but if I'm mowing the lawn or I'm doing some yard work or stuff. I have an old pair of tennis shoes that I wear that's like all stained from mowing lawns and stuff. And then I also have running / it's really more for hiking. I use it for hiking. I have hiking shoes. So that's like 11. And those things, now I only go on those kind of major hikes a few times a year, so those have held up really well. And we've actually talked about this in one of our very early episodes about one of our first few, when we were talking about like wardrobe or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And I, for the longest time, would do the thing where I would buy that cheap pair of shoes. Sometimes I'd buy a couple pair and just have them ready to go. When the first one would wear out, I'd buy the next pair. Then Steph kind of introduced me to the world of buying like this mid-range priced shoes, and it has changed my life because they're more comfortable. I don't spend that much more money, and
they last
her
longer.
Advice to me, they last longer. So, and then she got me one step further, and she was like, okay, how about this? She said, I know you don't like spending money, so how about this? This is my gift to you. Let's get you 2 everyday shoes, and you can change them up, and then you'll have, and then, in general, for comfort, it'll last longer too. So, and it's true. Like, I have 2 pairs of everyday shoes. I'll alternate them every few days or whatever mood I'm in. And it's so nice. It's been like a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years now. And both shoes still feel so comfortable. Usually after a couple of years, there's really starting to be some wear and tear on the shoes that I used to buy. So it's really nice just kind of spreading them out and not giving either one as much use as I would have used to when I just had one. So that's been really helpful.
Yeah, I usually burn through my everyday shoes once a year. Like they'll last a year and then they gotta go. But I do the mid range. Like I'll pay $60 to $70 for a shoe.
Yeah, and I think that's a good pocket to be in because I have bought a more expensive pair of shoes, and I really haven't found that much difference once you're kind of breaking that $60, $70 point. So I kind of stick to that point. I'll get like, that's what I want to know now too, is like, what is your daily driver for your shoe? What kind? I think I remember, but I'm curious if it's still the same of what it used to be.
That was the next question. It's like, let's talk brands. What are they? My go-to is New Balance. I'm a big New Balance guy.
New Balance. You've always loved your New Balances, man. I've
been a 30-year-old dad for the last 10 years. I am a New Balance man.
Well, it's slowly. You're slowly, like, you're not there yet, but you're slowly aging into the shoe. So eventually, you will. It'll just make complete sense. You're just, you don't have to change shoe style.
I like the long socks, tennis shoes, my New Balance tennis shoes, my khaki shorts. All I need is to be standing outside in front of a grill. I'm ready to go.
standing inside in front of a grill or like standing out looking at the rain, go, yeah, we needed this rain.
I love the rain.
Like, just talking like dads do. But okay, so for me, I've never been married to a brand. It's kind of changed over the years. In fact, my life has changed so much in the last 5 years that I can't even really remember what shoes brands I had before that. I think I did mainly just kind of off-brand shoes. I don't think I did any sort of popular brand. I usually did a lot of my shopping at JCPenney, and they had a lot of knockoff brands, including of shoes to my memory. And they did the job just fine. I would just do slip-on shoes. But nowadays I do. So my two daily shoes, one of them is they're thinner. They're actually meant for running, but I just use them for everyday use. And they're Reeboks. Reeboks?
That is how you say that name, Reebok. That is how you say that.
I'm so unfamiliar. I just don't know if that's even what it is. So it's Reeboks. They're just these black shoes, and then I have a pair of completely white shoes, and they're Adidas. So when it comes to the more kind of sporty kind of shoes, if you want to call them that, like Nike or Adidas, I'm an Adidas guy. I think they're comfy, and I've used those for quite a few years now. So those are my two daily driver brands.
The folks across the pond, this drives me nuts, pronounce Adidas as Adidas, and it drives me nuts. I'm like, no. No. Yeah, why did you stress it that way?
I learned that. It's so weird. I learned that because, what was I going to say? An old coworker of mine, she was married to an Englishman, and he worked for them in the UK. And and he said he called it Adidas. Yeah. So it's why would you do that? It's Adidas. It's so weird. It's such a weird emphasis to put on there. But have you ever done the Nike or Adidas
Nike
thing?
Actually, my last work shoe, the one that was more mesh that I was talking about, actually was Nike. And I don't normally go Nike. I don't normally care for Nike shoes as much. They just... something about the fit on my foot that's just not as comfortable. So usually I don't go Nike. Yeah. They usually feel lighter or thinner or something about them. It always rubs me wrong. But I was out shopping for shoes forever ago now when I bought these because I bought two mesh shoes. My running pair is still my New Balance, and the other mesh one is my Nike. And actually, interestingly enough, and I went back and forth between the two. They were both very similar make, just different brands, right? And I think ultimately at the end of the day, I went with a New Balance for my running shoe because I'm I like New Balance. But the more I wore them, I'm I actually think the Nike on this one, and I don't know the model, the Nike was actually more comfortable. I actually preferred the Nike on that style, which surprised me. Because normally I wasn't a Nike person for the longest time. But also I usually wouldn't buy the mesh shoes. Even when I would buy running shoes, it would be the classic tennis shoe, not the mesh stuff. Yeah. So I'm maybe Nike has an edge up on New Balance in the mesh world, and I just haven't really experimented too much with that. Maybe.
Yeah, I've got experience with the mesh stuff. I'm curious, in your daily shoe, what are you looking for exactly? Because I don't are you looking for, because I kind of categorize them in there's the very light shoes, they're comfy, but they're light. It's they're barely on. And then there's it's almost like you're really stuffing your foot into a big soft cloud, but it's a tight cloud, there's those kinds of shoes. I'm just curious, do you have a feel preference for just your day to day?
I like a heavier everyday shoe, not boot heavy, but a heavier everyday shoe that I know I'm wearing, but I like it to have support. So I want it to be heavy that I know it's there, but I like it well cushioned. And that's why besides the mesh thing, my everyday shoe is just a regular classic tennis shoe. And New Balance is just more cushioned in the places that I want it cushioned. Yeah. So I like a heavier everyday shoe that I know I'm wearing it, but it's comfortable that it does. I don't mind knowing that it's there because it's comfortable.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I kind of go for, I guess, the more light. I like the comfort's important, but I really want to feel like I can just, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like the heavier shoes can kind of, quote unquote, weigh you down, I guess. I just like being able to feel like I like to forget that I have shoes on. And those Reeboks are super light because once again, they're meant for running. They're meant for runners.
Yeah.
And
I like that if I'm running. I want the light shoe that I forget is on when I'm running. I don't want to be thinking about my shoes when I'm running. So
right. So yeah, that's kind of what I have. The irony, and I'm sure it's not the best for aerodynamics or whatever, but for one reason or another, I like the heavier shoes when I'm running. I like a big, tight, let's go when I'm running.
Probably because you feel more like protected because you're like slapping your feet down.
I guess.
You want some more like cushion resistance or something like that. Because I'm the other way around where it's like I'd rather glide, so to speak. I probably don't look like I'm gliding. I probably look like a disaster when I run because I just feel like I'm a lanky dude. But yeah. But with like hiking, when you mentioned your hiking shoes, now you want a sturdy shoe. Yeah. Now you want a durable shoe.
And for those, let me tell you, I bought a pair of Keens. I asked my dad because my dad is big into hiking, and I said, so okay, I've got a good chunk of money, and hiking shoes they're not cheap if you want to get a decent one.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Dad, if I'm going to spend a couple $100 on a pair of shoes that are going to last me a long time, what do I need to get? And he told me Keens. So I looked him up. I got this pair of Keens. It was one of their newer models or whatever you want to call it. And God, do they work. They are so comfortable, and they're so like, they somehow manage comfort, but also that durability. Like there's a huge, like those steel toe, or they get like those steel toe kind of boots. It's not like a steel toe, but they get like this hard plastic or something in there. The way that the shoe is formed, that there's a lot of room where your toes are at, and it's also still whatever you want to call this. It's very maneuverable. So like if you're like going up on these these uneven rocks, what you're doing, your foot can easily, or kind of angle itself. Flex, I guess.
But it's still grippy.
And but it's still very grippy. And then it's also like really good in water because of how grippy it is. So like if there's like flowing water on like rocks, it can still get a good firm grasp on it. And I used to hike without those, and it made a huge, huge difference when I started using those. So I'll get those shoes on. I'll get my hiking. I was about to call them glasses. They're called socks. Don't know where glasses came from. I get my hiking
glasses on before I lace up my shoes.
That's right. Anyway, that's been a game changer. So anyone out there looking for a good pair of hiking shoes, get some Keens.
Keens.
Those will work for you.
You're keen for the Keens. Oh, yeah, I'm not familiar with Keens, but I don't like buy any boot-like shoe. Like, I don't buy winter boots, and I don't buy hiking boots. I just hike. If I go on a hike, which isn't often or common for me, but if I do, it's in my everyday shoes. I just abuse my everyday shoes. That's what I do.
Yeah, that works.
It does. Well, especially most of the hiking I do isn't actually outdoorsy hiking. It'll just be like long walks somewhere. But
if you're walking a trail,
if you're walking,
you can do it.
Yeah, I'm not really going on an excursion in the woods. I'm just walking. But
right, yeah. I know they work really good in the snow too. When we got here in Tennessee, we had a big snowstorm come through, and Steph and I went out in the snow and kind of walked around and kind of hung out in it for a while. And I remember I used my hiking shoes for that, and the grip is so nice. It felt like it felt like snow boots, and they're not meant to be snow boots. They're meant for hiking and the durability and the being maneuverable and all that stuff. But it worked really well with this kind of getting packed into the snow and like traction and stuff. So they're good. They work.
And the important thing there is that they're like water repellent or whatever, where you're not going to let all that moisture in. Because I get that problem with my shoes, is that I get water into them and they're wet, and then it's like, ugh. But I refuse to buy any snow boots because it's like I don't walk through snow often enough to like warrant buying a whole snow boot that I will touch twice a year max. So I just
only reason why I own snow boots is because it's the same snow boots I've had for like
forever,
10 years. I couldn't even tell you where they're at because I didn't even use them when I lived in Illinois. I just own them. You know what I mean?
That was kind of the case with like I had snow boots, but like at some point I moved and they stayed at my parents' house and I just never came to collect. And I think they're gone now. I think they've been thrown out. But if they still exist, it's because they're sitting at my parents' house and they probably still fit because my foot hasn't changed size in so long. But it's like, I don't lay claim to those anymore. If they still exist, I am unaware. I'm not coming to collect.
I've got a good question for you.
Okay.
Describe describe the look of any era of shoe, any shoe you've had at one point in your life where you've worn it and it's been too long, it's completely worn out, there's a hole in it. Describe the worst of that for me at any point in your life. Like, what shoe was it? How bad was it? Paint that picture for me.
I don't let my shoes get too horribly bad. Actually, my brother's been way worse about this than I have. Usually it's the bottom of the shoe, and it's just the like the rubber bit or whatever is peeling apart. And it's like, it's time to get new shoes. I've never really had like holes poke all the way through, so to speak. But I've had holes like begin to form, like shoe cavities. And I'm like, okay, it's time to look into new shoes. And I don't have a particularly crazy story about it, other than it's just you get to that point, it's like, okay, it's time to look for new shoes.
Okay, I guess I figured you would have. I thought you would have gone a little longer than I was expecting.
I think it's just because, like, usually because it's the bottom of my shoe that starts to go out, that like it's affecting the walking. Like I can feel it scraping against the floor when you walk or whatever. So it's like, well, I can't keep doing this. I can go show you because, like I said, my everyday shoe is wearing out. I can go grab, since we're on video, I can go grab my everyday shoe right now and show you where it's wearing out. Do we want to see that?
Yes.
Do we want show and tell? I'll be
Let's
right
do
back.
Show and tell.
Entertain,
All right,
entertain the audience. Don't cut to any break. Entertain the audience.
That sounds good. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. We're going to talk about shoes. I can do this solo. Weston has his own solo podcast. Why can't I do mine? You know? I might go get a pair of my shoes, too. I'm not sure. But when Weston gets back, I'll talk to him about my shoe problems. Because I used to have quite a bit of holes in my shoes. And it wasn't good. Not at all. And I let it go way too long. And I really think that's the secret to success. So I hope you really took advantage of that advice.
I missed it.
That's the secret to success.
I'll never know.
You missed it?
I'll never be able to listen back to the secret of success.
I guess you'll never be successful. It's as simple as that. All right, let's see it.
This is my New Balance 608 model. I prefer the 619s, but they don't make them anymore.
That's so funny. When I see that shoe, I automatically go Weston every time.
This is the classic dad shoe. It's dirty.
Yep.
It's dark. It's got stuff all over it. But the issue that I'm talking about is like up here in the front. This part's coming down. So the rubber part's coming apart. So you get to the point where you start walking around and that's rubbing up against the floor. So that's like the worst. I've had worse than this, but like that's the type of damage I'm talking about, where it's like, okay. And then I would go grab my Nike and show you I'm forming a hole sort of towards the toe somehow. There's a little bit of a hole forming, but it's a black shoe. It's not going to come out very well, and it's not a hole all the way through. So it's like, you've got a little fray. There's a fray in the mesh, but like that's not that's not so bad.
That isn't too bad. How about this? I don't have any like worn out shoes right now because I just not at the moment. I don't. But let me go get an interesting pair of shoes.
Okay.
Remember when I said I have a third kind of like daily shoe, but I don't really wear it that often. It's more special occasion casual. Let me go get that because it's pretty unique looking. So I'll be right back.
Oh, now it's my turn to entertain. This is the part where I grab like 3 sauce packets. This is the fire flavor of hot sauce from Taco Bell. This is the part in the podcast where I get 3 of these, and if you're watching the podcast on YouTube or Spotify, you can watch me juggle. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I could, but I'm sitting in one spot, and it's very awkward. There's a mic in front of my face. Can you juggle at home? Can you juggle shoes? Actually, there was a point in time where I was trying to learn to juggle shoes, like flip-flops especially, because I thought that would be a fun trick at parties, apparently. Like, oh, I can juggle. Here, give me your shoes, and I'll juggle them. But the problem with juggling shoes as a party trick is most people only have 2 of them, not 3. Because most people have only 2 feet. Most people only have 2 feet, and that's kind of a problem.
And that's the secret to success. 2 feet.
Welcome back. You'll never know what we were talking about.
I can only imagine, Weston. But I brought 2 pair. So really quick, I wanted to show, just briefly, this is my Keen.
Okay.
It has a more traditional, like, tennis shoe look, because you can get more hiking boots.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get like a boot shoe hybrid, and they said this is what you want to get. It's got the durability of the boot, and yep, there it is, waterproof and all that stuff. Really good, and you see how that, you may not be able to see it on camera very much, but this actually goes up a lot where your toes are at, so it's very sturdy. But the unique shoe, so this is a third pair of like just casual shoes, but it can be kind of a little less casual and a little more semi-formal sometimes too, and it's this. And at first, when I first saw it, I thought bowling shoes. When I first saw it, and then Steph kind of convinced me. She said, "I don't know if you wear like a teal or like a blue like shirt and stuff like that, it'll really make this pop." And anytime I've worn this to things, I've worn it to stuff like I worn it to a family. What's it called when families get together? Like
family
a reunion,
function, a reunion,
like family function, like a big one with a bunch of family members and stuff, and a few other like kind of casual, kind of not things. I've always gotten compliments on these shoes, and I think it's mainly just because of the interesting.
The laces definitely stand out, laces. And then it is an unusual shoe.
Yeah.
So like, that's a fun shoe to be able to wear at just weird, social gatherings. As long as you can get it to work with the rest of your outfit.
Like I can't wear that with like shorts. I got to wear pants. But like
you could,
I could. But no, when you get it, if you set it up with the right outfit or whatever, it ends up being pretty versatile, more versatile than it looks, and it's I like it. So I wanted to show that. For anyone who doesn't know, it was basically, for our listeners, it's a kind of like a brown leather, but not super dark brown, just kind of like a standard brown leather with like dark teal laces. That's the best color I can think of. It's teal, but it's like if you made it dark.
Imagine teal. Now imagine darkness. And if you combine the two,
put them together.
Now that we've done a little bit of show and tell, I think it's time we take a short break because the listeners need to listen to us advertise ourselves. And when we return, we will be playing a little bit of Would You Rather Be a Millionaire? Tennis Shoe Edition. We'll be right back. Profoundish is brought to you in part by HastilyMadeDecision.com. Get your poetry fix from my poetry blog featuring haiku, senryu, freeform stuff, and more. Again, that's HastilyMadeDecision.com for your poetry fix.
Profoundish is brought to you in part by Camp Nostalgic Saturday Morning, a show that takes a deep dive into pop culture's biggest questions. I co-host alongside Dave Rediger, and it's a lot of fun. Watch the show and see all the other content offerings at campnostalgic.org.
Hey, Alex.
Classic. Hey, Weston.
Would you rather be a millionaire? Or would you rather go home with some fancy shoes? Time will tell as we continue our... It's been a while since we've done this. Since we've done a Would You Rather...
It has been a while.
Rather be a millionaire game. The premise of the show, everybody. Alex will be asked a series of questions of Would You Rathers. And the idea is the further along he goes, the more money he wins. But in order to win that money, he has to do the thing that he said he'd rather do. So, but anytime he can just take the money and run instead. And in this edition, we're doing tennis shoes. We've done several things. It's like we've done a sandwich edition where it's like you win like $1 million, but you'd have to eat this like awful sandwich.
Yeah.
That's the idea, right? So right now, Alex has nothing. And we're going to ask him the $1 question.
And the podcast cuts off. Alex has nothing.
Alex has nothing.
Podcast is over.
He's got nothing. The caveat for this is that you're going to be building your shoes. And these are the shoes that you would have to wear. This is your only shoe that you are allowed to wear for the next year. But if you can do that, you win the amount of money that you've reached. So right now you got nothing. Let me ask you, Alex, for $1, would you rather wear shoes that are half a size too small or shoes that are a full size too big?
Ooh. Because it's funny, you say half. If it was half too big, that's different than a one.
Yep. Yeah. So
that was intentional.
That was very intentional. So if you normally wear 12s, would you rather wear an 11 and a half, or would you rather wear a 13? What shoe size do you wear, Alex?
Yeah, we should have talked about that in the first segment. Let's take a guess of each other's shoe sizes really quick. Take a guess of mine, and I'll guess yours.
We're both similarly sized dudes. I'm gonna guess that you wear. I'm just gonna guess that you. Well, for some reason, I feel like. For some reason, I feel like you wear 11s.
Yeah, it's usually 11 or 11 and a half.
Nailed it.
I feel like your shoes are a little bit bigger than mine. I feel like you wear 12s.
I do.
Nice. Look at that. See, this is why we're friends.
You know what the kicker for me was? Right. I'm like, we're both similar sized dudes, and I'm like, he probably wears 12s. And then I stopped. I'm like, for some reason, I'm remembering back when you would prefer to wear medium shirts, and I prefer to wear large shirts. I'm like, maybe smaller shoe, And I was like, 11.
Okay.
That was the kicker for me.
You had some context there. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I guess I'm going to go a half size too small because I do like, I don't mind that feeling, but I can't do a size too big because you're going to be flopping around when you walk. I don't want to do that.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, you're going to flop a little bit, but I would hate to crunch my toes.
Yeah, but what if you got to run anywhere? With your size too big, that's going to be a hard one.
Then I just flop, run. Flop, 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 flop.
I think I'm going to... I hate when my toes can't breathe. No, I'm going to stick with it, though.
You're going to stick with it? For $1, Alex will be wearing shoes half a size too small for the next year. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-bum. That's my moving on to the next question song. We need sound effects. I'd like okay. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style sound effects when we move on to the next.
Okay, I need to add, maybe next time we do it, I'll have my piano rigged up so we can do it in real time.
We'll make a whole game show. It'll be great. All right, $10 question. We're moving on to the $10 question. You've got the choice of leaving with your $1 in your small shoes, or you can add to your shoe. Would you rather have sticky laces or a sticky sole of your shoe? Ugh. So every time you go to lace up your shoe, your laces are sticky, or every time you slide your foot into your shoe, the sole of your shoe is sticky.
Sticky laces, easy, because I can wash my hands afterwards, whatever. I don't want to put my foot into a sticky, ugh. That makes me gives you the heebie-jeebies.
Really? Because I was wondering. So my thinking on this is that I'd rather have a sticky sole because if I'm wearing socks, my foot's not gonna feel sticky. The only thing is that it's gonna be annoying that my foot won't move a little bit in your shoe, but at least I don't have to touch it.
I think for me, it's more mental. It's more knowing that even if it's a sock in there that's kind of separating the actual foot from the stickiness, it's still there. And I'll feel like I'll always want to be able to clean it, and I know that I can't. I feel like I can forget about it more when it's just on my laces because it's not nearly as connected to my foot. So.
And you might be able to get away with it if you're one of those people that pre-ties their shoes and you kind of slip in or whatever. I'm not that person. I can't do that, but you could try to get away with it a little bit.
Right.
All right. Yeah. That was the $10 question. Moving to a $100 question now. You can take your $10 or run, or your options are: every step you take squeaks, or every 100th step shouts. Ah! Ah!
You know what? I would get super annoyed at my own squeaking.
Yeah.
Super annoyed. I get really annoyed when other people's shoes squeak, and that's I shouldn't spend my thoughts thinking those things, but I do go, just change your shoes. It drives me crazy. If there's somebody, I work part-time in an office, right? So just hear, I hate it. So I'm going to say the scream because I think even though that would be annoying and fairly predictable over time, I'll realize, okay, I know the scream's coming. I haven't counted my steps, but I know the scream's coming. I don't know. I feel like I'd get used to that quicker than I would just always squeaking all the time. Or it could even be more kind of exciting, I'll sometimes forget, and then I'll be kind of startled by my scream, which I think would be fun.
I think the people that will be startled the most are people around you, where you're just walking, and then you're you're walking to your seat at a Wendy's or something, and then all of a sudden there's just this shout in the room, ah! And everyone's like, what the frick?
I was thinking it's a Monday morning at the office. Everybody's in the break room. Nobody wants to be there under the cold fluorescent lights. And then you go in there and just, morning, Keith, morning, and pouring your coffee. And then I'm on step 97 and I'm going to the coffee machine. Morning. Ah! And it's just quiet. And they're just like, what was going on here? Yeah. Morning, everybody.
Morning. I think that one would be more fun eventually once people were in on it. Or maybe it'd be annoying. I don't know. But it sounds like it'd be more fun.
That's my choice.
All right. $1,000 question, Alex. You take your $100 and run. Or for $1,000, your choices are your shoes that you now have to wear for the next year include a 1-inch heel in the heel. So you're going to be elevated. Or you've got cleats in your heel. So now you got little spikes out of your heel.
Cleats, because for various musical related things, I used to do theater. I've had to wear stuff with heels before, and God, wait a second, wait. Is this just across the board an inch, or is this angled?
This that's a good question. I was imagining for the heel, I was imagining more like you see what are the women call, what do the women folk call them, flats or whatever? A flat heel. Where it's angled. You know what I mean?
It is angled.
So it's not like a stiletto spike, but it's just like a flat, but it's an angled, like a doorstop in your heel.
I don't like that idea. I don't like the angled idea, because I had to wear those for various things, for different kinds of shoes in theater, and I hated that because I always wanted my foot to be flat on the ground. And I know cleats won't do it either, but at least it's even. It's even across, so I can still be completely horizontal with the ground.
I will throw it in that just to add a little extra, maybe I'm changing my mind, is the cleats, because if you were walking heel to toe, you're going to go cleat to no cleat as you walk. It'd be very trippy.
What do you mean cleat to no cleat? What do you mean?
The cleats are only in the heel, so they're not all the way across your shoe. Oh. So as you're stepping, you're going from cleats to no cleat.
I hate that even more. I guess I misunderstood. So I'm going back to the other. I'll do the inch heel thing.
Okay, we're going.
I guess I didn't realize. Is that how cleats are? I thought cleats were spikes all the way across.
Normally,
or is this just your?
This is my thing. Okay. The cleats in this thing you have a 1-inch heel, or you have a cleat heel. We're building the heel of your shoe.
That sounds terrible.
All right, you've got the 1-inch heel. $10,000 question. We're moving up to the big money now. It's going to start getting weird. It's going to start getting weird. Okay, you can take your $1,000 weird 1-inch heel sticky laces and get out of here. Or for $10,000, your options are: your shoes both have 1-foot wings on each side of the shoe. All right. Or the toes are open to the elements.
What do you mean by 1-foot wings?
So take your shoe. Let me take my New Balance shoe again and show you.
Okay.
All right. So on either side of the shoe is a whole foot of a wing, like an airplane wing on each side, right? Just jutting out of the side. But that's both your shoes. So if both of your feet get too close to each other, you're going to start clanking wings.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they're on the inside of my on the inside, so on my ankle side.
Oh yeah.
Of my feet.
Each shoe, on both sides of each shoe, are these 1 foot long plain wings.
Oh my gosh, that sounds terrible.
Or the toes to your shoe are just open. Like an open garage door to the elements.
Oh my God. That's horrible. These are both terrible shoe designs, Weston.
Correct.
Why am I tempted to say open toe? Because I just feel like functionally I'm going to come into a lot more issues with the wings.
The wings is a bigger tripping hazard, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger tripping hazard. I feel like if I'm sitting at my desk, I'm going to run it into... What are the wings made out of?
I'm imagining just kind of like that hard plastic at the end of your hiking shoe. That hard kind of rubbery plastic.
That could do damage to my computer if I move my feet fast enough. And I think about playing piano, and I got to use my foot on the... That could cause issues with the foot pedals and... Yeah, you know what? I don't want my toes to be exposed, but God, I'm going to have to get some thick socks because I'm going to do open toe here.
Open toe shoes. Yeah, it's going to be when it's like raining or snowy out and they're just like funneling into your shoe.
I'm going to have to just prepare accordingly with the elements, I guess.
The good news is that's not like bad all the time. Like if you're a flip-flop guy, having your toes exposed isn't like that. It's not that bad. But like when the weather is bad, it'll be bad. $25,000 question, Alex. You can take your $10,000 and your goofy open toe shoe, or your $25,000 options are your shoes catcall women as you pass, or your shoes frequently update passersby the stink status of your feet.
So it goes, well, it smells like onions. Or
we got that onion stink today.
And they just call out from the shoes themselves.
Yeah. The shoes now speak and like update people who pass by you how stinky your feet are. Or they catcall women as you pass.
Hey, sugar face.
Hey, good looking. Why don't you look down here?
I feel like I got to think about realistically what would embarrass me less and what I could kind of get over quicker. And I honestly think I could get over. It's less mortifying for me to just have my shoes say, hey, I'm smelling stinky or whatever. Because first of all, I know it's me. So I could be biased, but I don't think my feet usually smell that, or even my shoes don't really smell. They just smell like worn shoes. They don't smell bad, you know? So I think for the most part, it's going to be just an awkward moment in the mall or I'm walking to go get something and they're, people in the mall walkers are just going to hear, hey, it smells like an old soul in here. Smells like rubber, or whatever. So I feel like because of my foot hygiene, I think that's going to be less mortifying than catcalling women. And who knows what trouble that could stir. So
at least
I think
it wouldn't be you. It'd be your shoes. And it's just like, sorry.
Like they're going to believe me, right? It's like, sorry, that was my shoes talking.
Just my shoes. Well, your voice and the shoes wouldn't have the same voice. So when you're like, sorry, it wasn't me, they're going to be like, it didn't sound like him. So
I don't know. I feel like I think a lot of girls would think that I'm just like trying to like be like kind of funny and hit on them. It's like, sorry, that was my shoes.
It would be,
but
I feel like the catcalling women, while catcalling women is not a good thing to do, if your shoes are doing it, it would make a funny video series on YouTube. My shoes catcall 100 women, like those really terrible social experiment prank videos or something. You could turn that into something.
Oh my God, that is true, yeah.
For better or for worse. Okay, $50,000 question. You can take your $25,000 and take your stink updating shoes and get out of here. Or for $50,000, your options are your shoes sweat when it's hot and shiver when it's cold. Or any moment you're seated, your shoes tap dance uncontrollably.
Oh, always?
Always.
I mean, I don't know. That's an easy one for me. I'd much rather them sweat and shiver.
So when it's hot out and your shoes just start soaking, just sweating, just shoe sweat. And when it's cold, like your shoes are like vibrating. You're trying to walk, you're walking on thin ice and your shoes are vibrating.
But you know how tired I'm going to be, though, if I'm sitting down and my feet are constantly... It'll be a fun rhythm, but I'm going to be so exhausted. I'm going to find myself being in public places, taking off my shoes because it's too much. It's too much. Although it would sound better than a sweaty shoe because it's tap dancing.
It would.
But that's about all it's got going for it. So I'd rather take the slippery, wet, nasty, sweaty shoes and the shivering, cold shoes and just deal with it.
Man, I feel like I wouldn't be able to deal with the sweaty shoes situation.
You think you could deal with tap dancing shoes, though?
Yeah.
You're going to get so tired.
I'm always tired. Nothing changes.
Okay, what's the difference, right?
Okay. $100,000 question. Or you can take your $50,000 and take your sweaty shoes and get out of here. But your $100,000 options are your shoes don't get along and constantly argue. Or your shoes love each other and sometimes try to kiss each other.
First of all, Weston, I want to say this. You've been calling me Alex. Can you call me Billy?
Billy?
Would you mind calling me Billy for the rest of this? Thanks,
Billy. You've been on this show an awful lot.
I had to bring the bit back. We always do the bit every time.
Bring back the Bitly. No,
the Billy bit.
The Billy
Any
bit.
like hardcore Profoundish fans know the bit, the Billy bit. So okay, either them kind of bicker all the time, or they're they're wanting to be a little smoochy doochy.
They're always arguing, and you can hear it. You just these two bickering shoes at all times, or they love each other and sometimes try to kiss each other.
So if they sometimes try to kiss each other, that would. So I'm just going to infer that because they're going to be bickering and it's audible.
Yeah.
That I'm assuming that their lovey could be audible too, meaning I could be hearing maybe some kind of moaning sounds every once in a while.
Well, they're not. Well. They sometimes try to kiss each other.
Like looking at each other. But no, but I mean, you can't tell me if they can argue and you hear it. You can't tell me they're not going to go. You're looking really good to kiss.
Okay,
right now.
that's better.
You know, some stuff like
I
that.
thought
like
you
kind
meant
of breathy and.
I thought you meant like
not like sexual.
Like, yeah, I thought you meant shoe coitus, and I'm like, they're not. I don't know about that one.
I'm just trying to think about right. I'm trying to think about if I'm sitting at the DMV waiting to update my license, and it's quiet and nobody wants to be in there, and I hear. Why don't you just listen to me, George? Just listen to me for once in your life.
Why don't you listen?
You know, and it's just quiet, and it's coming from my ankles. Or if I just hear, "Oh, your lips look so good right now," you know, and I just hear some stuff like that, and then like they're trying to kind of lean in and kiss each other. What would I rather get used to hearing?
That's a good way to put it. That's interesting.
Because honestly, I don't know if I want the constant negativity. I think I would much rather deal with shoes that kind of love each other, and sometimes I might want to kiss a little bit because at least it's love. If I'm gonna be annoyed with constant sounds from my shoes, spoken in English at times, I'm going. I think I'd rather. Right, I think I'd rather it be at least positive in nature, and love and romance is much more positive in nature than anger and. Whatever, resentment, whatever else the shoes feel toward each other.
I will throw an additional wrench into your thinking in case it changes your mind. Since the shoes sometimes try to kiss each other, you might be mid-step, and when your left shoe just veers off to the right to try to smooch the right shoe. So it's an additional tripping hazard.
There is an additional tripping hazard. I will always be listening for the audible signs. Maybe they're, getting ready to plan a kiss out, right? They need to consent. But I also wonder, you can't tell me if the other shoes are bickering that one wouldn't try and swing a punch at the other one or try and ram into the other one, Like,
according to my stipulations, they only argue.
I hate your stipulations. Yeah, you know what, though? I still think about, I think I'm going to take that risk because I just don't want to deal with the constant negativity coming from my feet.
I'm okay. I'll take it. I respect it.
I think that can affect you long term.
I respect it. I mean, honestly, I feel like I'd probably take that risk too because I can recover until I get old or something. But you're only wearing these shoes for a year. So like right now, I feel like I'm pretty good at surviving like a stumble or something. So I feel like I'd be okay. So I'm kind of with you on that one. Yeah. I'd rather not listen to people just argue all day. That's just terrible.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Final question. Here we go. This is the $1 million question. You can take your $100,000 and your lovey-dovey kissy shoes that are all sweaty and cold and shivering in the summer and winter respectively, that also update passersby on the stinkiness of your feet, that also have completely open toes. Your toes are just open to the universe, with 1-inch heels in the back, sticky laces, and half a size too small.
Oh, yeah.
You can take all that and go, your $1 million question for your $1 million options are your shoes, eat your food, and move your things when you sleep. Or your shoes will set one trap somewhere in your house while you sleep.
Really quick, could you refer to me as Alex for the rest of this? Is that okay?
Billy, we got to talk about this. But Alex, it's fine.
Alex,
okay, Alex.
Okay. All right. Well, could you tell me the second one again? I remember the first one.
Your shoes will set one trap somewhere in your house every night when you sleep.
And the other one is like they'll eat my food.
They will eat your food and move your things.
Oh my God!
But they're not setting any traps.
Yeah, how bad are these traps?
They range from mild, harmless pranks to it could hurt. It's like, like a tripwire in front of the stairs that you stumble down or something like that. Like anywhere from like, whipped cream on the toilet bowl seat or something to tripping down the stairs.
I just don't like the idea of my shoes getting out and eating all my crap. Groceries are expensive now.
They are.
I don't know.
Or you can take the money and run.
This might be the hardest one, Weston, and I might actually take the money and run. I don't know if I can deal with this for a year.
You've actually done it before in the tattoo episode.
That's right. I forgot I've done that before. Because I think about this, I take the shoes out of the equation, and then I just think, what would I rather wake up to? For a year, would I rather deal with always having to compensate for the fact that some of my groceries are being eaten, and like I'm having to find my wallet and my keys? How much can I prepare for that proactively?
Yeah.
How much can I realistically prepare for that? For the missing or my things being moved around, I can't really prepare for that, assuming they can always get access to my stuff. I can prepare for the food because I can always just buy more food or whatever.
And if you
the traps,
do
right?
that, you'll be a millionaire. So
that is a lot of money. Because I think about the traps, I could go weeks, maybe months, being able to escape the traps or see them coming, right?
Yeah.
But there's going to be that one time where and that could be the bad one that hurts.
The one that gets you.
The one that gets me, right? I just didn't know it was coming. I think I want to get the $1 million, Weston. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up early enough in the morning to make sure that I can find my keys in time. And I got the money, I can just bulk up on groceries, and I think I'm going to deal with it. So I think because I want that moolah, I'm going to let those shoes go, move my crap around, and eat my food.
Alex, for $1 million you have selected, you have to wear these shoes every day for a year. Shoes that will eat your food and move your things in your sleep. Try to kiss each other and be all lovey-dovey. Will sweat in the summer, shiver in the winter. Update passersby the stinky status of your feet with open toes to the elements, 1-inch heels in the back. Every 100th step, they're shouting. And they're lovey-dovey shouting, too. I'll let you know. You got sticky laces, and they're half a size too small. But if you could do all of that, you are now a millionaire. You would rather be a millionaire. Shoe edition.
I would. Woo. Feels good. You can my address. I think you still have it. You can cut me a check anytime.
Oh, don't worry. I'll cut you something.
What, some cheese? Hey-o.
Maybe. I just pull out like a plate of brie just from off camera and just...
Exactly. This is what you asked for.
This is exactly what $1 million cheese, not $1 million money. You're crazy.
Right.
That's been our show, everybody. What kind of shoes do you wear? Tell us all about it. And all your shoe stories. Would you have made it to the millionaire? Tell us all your shoe-related things over on our Patreon, patreon.com/Profoundish. If you would like to support the show, we would appreciate it. You can find the podcast where you find podcasts. And we have video versions available on Spotify and YouTube if you'd like to watch our pretty little faces do all of the talking things that we do. Follow us on the social medias, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok at ProfoundishPod. And wherever you are, if you could give us a little 5-star or a favorite or a like or whatever you can do, we'd appreciate that tremendously. But in the meantime, if you want to find Alex specifically, where can we find you?
I will tell you in just a second. I do want to add something. If you want to have a fun way to interact with the show for free, go to Spotify. There's always a poll on Spotify, and every couple weeks we'll read kind of the polls. We like kind of gauging, seeing what the people think. We asked what they think out of the choices, given what the most romantic date would be, and surprisingly, a night at the arcade was tied with something else. It was tied. It was really interesting.
It was like Moonlight
Picnic. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So it's fun to see that. So if you want to interact with us in kind of in some way, do that on Spotify. Yeah. There's always a poll every week, and I read those every couple weeks. You can find me. I'm going to take you straight to my channel today. You can go to Alex. I was about to say my website still. Type in Alex Duquette on YouTube. I recently put out my as of the recording of this, or not as of recording, as of the time this releases, I recently put out my SpongeBob SquarePants medley. So if you're interested in SpongeBob or familiar, grew up watching it, or you still watch it, all those classic songs from it are in this medley. Go check it out. I'm really proud of it. And then stick around and see those other medleys as well. If you're into my music, you can stick around on YouTube still. Look up my album. It's called Songs from Sangamon Street. Really proud of that album. Weston, where can people find you on the internet?
If you just want to say hi, you can find me on X at Weston Hasty. If you want to hang out and play some games or watch a Let's Play video, I have Magic Man Mo on YouTube. That's my internet persona. But today, especially, I'm going to point you over to hastilymadedecision.com, which is where I do a poetry blog. And here lately, I've upgraded from posting haiku to posting some tanka. So we're like doing some 5-lined poems. And right now I've got a small little,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've got a small little series of themed around the ocean and sirens right now. I'm doing kind of a theming thing. So like if that's something that sounds up your alley, you want to read some poetry that may or may not be about usually love and heartache. Those are kind of the constant themes. Go check those out on hastilymadedecision.com.
That's cool.
That's all we've got for you today. Thank you all so much for listening and or watching. And until next time, all right.